Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. So, it looks like Xbox Game Pass is set to end the year of 2021 in a major way. Yeah, they went ahead and announced 12 more games heading over to Xbox Game Pass for the month of December, and what makes this so crazy is that this is only the first half of the month. Yeah, there's just no slowing down Xbox Game Pass, and there's actually some really high quality games here as well, so we will go over that today, plus a new perk heading over to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. It looks like Game Pass subscribers are going to have a pretty good month to end the year, but then also, the Nintendo Switch XL actually appears to be happening? Well, kind of. This is actually probably one of the most absurd accessories that I have seen thus far, and I'll kind of show you what I mean here in just a little bit. To start things off though, we're going to be talking about a game that we've been monitoring for some time now, being Digimon Survive. Now the thing about this particular game is that when it was first announced years ago, it's very obvious that this game has a lot of potential. It's a turn-based tactical RPG, it seems like has an interesting story, the art style looks good, and it all just seems to fit the Digimon universe very well. The problem though is that this game has received several delays since it was originally announced. It's been consecutive years where Digimon Survive has been delayed for an entire year, and this has led to some concern. This game does seem to be going through some kind of troubled development that just keeps causing it to get delayed, and there for a while there was some fans wondering if Digimon Survive would, well, actually survive. The good news though is that it does actually seem like this game survived after all, and an ESRB rating has now popped up online. Now this doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to release soon or that this is an absolute guarantee or anything like that, but this is a good sign that things are progressing along and Digimon Survive should release sometime in 2022. The ESRB rating also does confirm a few other things, including its rating. It did receive a teen rating, and then it also talked about the platforms that it is set to release on, including the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and then the PC. So there you go. For those looking forward to Digimon Survive, let's go ahead and cross our fingers and hope 2022 is finally the year we see this game. Now also, reviews did start to roll out today for the upcoming PlayStation console exclusive being Solar Ash, and there has been some anticipation surrounding this game, considering this is coming from Heart Machine, the same studio that worked on Hyper Light Drifter. Hyper Light Drifter is actually one of the better independent games that you can pick up and play right now, but when it comes to Solar Ash, this game is a little bit more ambitious. Instead of this being a smaller pixel art style of game, they're jumping into a big 3D world. Yes, it has a similar art style and color palette to it, but it does seem to be a little bit more ambitious, so there was some curiosity to see how they would handle this. And well, reviews have started to roll out now, and it seems like overall it's a pretty solid game with it sitting at a 76 overall score on Metacritic. I know it didn't necessarily reach the 80s as some fans were probably hoping, but I have seen it draw some comparisons with several different games, including Shadow of the Colossus, Mario Galaxy. I've seen some people say Jet Set Radio, and I mean, really, all three of those games are fantastic, so all of those are big selling points to me. From what I've personally seen though, you can definitely tell this game has taken some inspiration from Shadow of the Colossus, which in my opinion that's a great thing, as that was actually one of my favorite PlayStation 2 games. So I do like what I'm hearing about this game, especially with them focusing more on its fast-paced 3D platforming. I do like 3D platformers, and really 2021 has just been such a great year for this genre, and it seems like you're at the very least going to get another solid entry in this genre by the end of 2021 in Solar Ash. Now, speaking of ending the year in a good way, we need to talk about Xbox Game Pass. I know it's kind of a common thing by this point, but Xbox Game Pass has revealed a ton more games for the month of December. Again, this is just the first half of December, and there's some really high-quality games here, so let's just go and check it out. All of these games will be available in Xbox Game Pass in the first half of December, including Among Us, Anvil, Final Fantasy XIII 2, Lawnmower Simulator, Stardew Valley, Battle Sector, Rubber Bandits, Space Warlord Organ Trading Simulator, Halo Infinite, which is still almost hard to believe this is heading to Xbox Game Pass Day 1. Then you have Arcvel, One Piece, Pirate Warriors, and then, as we talked about yesterday, Aliens, Fireteam Elite. Yeah, that's a lot of games right there, and actually some pretty high quality ones. And like I said before, this doesn't even include the second half of the month, and I mean, we do know that The Gunk is going to be releasing on December 16th as well. That one is really interesting, kind of like Solar Ash. It is coming from a well-known developer that's worked on the Steam Heist franchise, so that one is worth paying attention to as well. Beyond that, though, just looking at the games that they did reveal today, you do have a couple of insanely popular games here, being Among Us and Stardew Valley. Among Us is really a game that has exploded in recent years, and while it's available on pretty much everything, you will now be able to play it on Xbox Game Pass at no extra charge. As for Stardew Valley, this is a game that I have put in several top 10 lists in the past because it really is that good. On the surface, this game might just look like a farming game, but it really is just so much more than that. This game does have an RPG aspect to it, and you're going to find yourself socializing with the NPCs in the town quite a bit and create some real bonds. Really much like Animal Crossing New Horizons, this is a game that you're going to kind of come back to again and again and again, and that's why I have seen people put hundreds of hours into this game. Like, no joke, this game can be a real time sink, and to just kind of put things into perspective on how much people actually like this game, if you go check out Steam, you can see that Stardew Valley has 349,000 reviews, 98% of which is positive. That just goes to show you how beloved this game is, and again, it's for a very good reason. Final Fantasy XIII 2 is also a pretty good entry here as well. The first game was actually already available on Xbox Game Pass, and even though 13 isn't necessarily the most beloved entry in the franchise, these are still pretty good JRPGs, and because they're beautiful, beautiful art style, these games still look good today. In fact, these games actually got an Xbox One X enhanced version, so if you are playing on the One X or the series, these games look really, really good, so definitely keep that in mind if you want to check out 13 and 13-2. Another game here, though, that kind of stands out would be Aliens Fireteam Elite. We did talk about this yesterday, but this really isn't all that old of a game, and if you're looking for a fun cooperative experience, here you have it in Aliens Fireteam. Even though this game didn't receive 9s and 10s across the board, the one thing that I have really heard about this game is it's a fun cooperative experience, especially if you like the Alien universe. So that game might be worth checking out as well. And then, of course, the big one, you have Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite is debatably the single biggest game to ever release directly into Xbox Game Pass, and really it's still almost kind of hard to believe this is the case. Of course, we have been able to play the multiplayer beta for the last couple of weeks, but now we're going to have that single player campaign release on December 8th, and I know fans have been waiting a very long time to play this game. Now, for me personally, I'm going to pick up the physical copy of Halo Infinite just because I typically buy Halo games physically, but with this releasing directly into Game Pass, I mean, a lot of people are going to have access to this game day one. I really believe with Halo Infinite releasing on PC, it's going to be coming to Steam, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and Xbox Game Pass. This game is going to have an absolutely massive launch, and I cannot wait. Now, as for you Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers out there, you're actually going to get a little extra perks when it comes to Halo Infinite. Game Pass Ultimate subscribers have gotten perks for quite some time now, so this shouldn't really come as a major surprise or anything like that, but they have now officially confirmed that Game Pass Ultimate members will receive monthly Halo Infinite bonuses. The first Halo Infinite perk will include a past tense MA40 AR bundle. It'll include 2 XP boosts as well as 4 challenge swaps. So if you are an Ultimate subscriber, look forward to more of these bonuses from this point forward. Overall, though, what a great way to end 2021, and really, we're not even quite finished just yet. Next up, the Nintendo Switch is getting one of the most crazy-looking peripherals that I have ever seen. This is the Orion upswitch over on Indiegogo, where they advertise this as being able to double your Nintendo Switch screen size, and I mean, when you just look at this thing, it looks absolutely ridiculous. It's this just absolute behemoth of a screen attached to these little tiny Joy-Cons. I mean, when I first looked at this thing, it almost looks like it's some kind of parody, but this is a for real thing. And I could sit here and say that who is this thing even for? But then when you actually look at the supporters, it does have 259 backers as of this recording with $130,000 of funding. So there are a lot of people that wants this device. What does this thing actually do though, other than give your forearms a nice little workout? Well, the UpSwitch is a full HD 11.6-inch monitor that allows you to attach your Switch tablet for not only portable use, but also for docked performance. This thing also does have dual stereo speakers, it's got a portable battery, it's got a kickstand, it's got slots for your Joy-Con, a headphone jack, USB-C port, and it does have some pretty nice features. And I mean, this thing looks absurd and everything, but I mean, there's some interesting things included here that I'm sure some fans out there would really enjoy. The thing that I have to ask myself, though, when it comes to a device like this is, how comfortable is this thing really? I mean, when I was looking at Nintendo Switch grips, I ran into the Satisfy, which a lot of people really like, but even that thing I found was too heavy, so I really wonder here about this particular device. They go over a lot of the different features that comes included with this device, but the one thing that they just don't talk about is the weight, and I feel like that's going to be pretty important for a device like this. Really, I think people are going to get a legitimate exercise out of this. You're not going to have to lift weights anymore. You're just going to have to play the Nintendo Switch with this behemoth of a device. Yeah, I think you might be a little tired after you get finished playing this thing. But really, if this is something that you are interested in, I will leave a link in the description below. I know that this is going to be a niche device and some people will find a use for it, but again, that link will be in the description below, and it looks like it is going for $250 at least, depending on all of the stuff that you want included. Next up, though, we do have one more thing to unfortunately go over today, being about Titanfall. Respawn Entertainment has now made the tough decision to discontinue the original Titanfall game. If you take a look over here at their post, they had this to say: "We've made the decision to discontinue new sales of the original Titanfall game starting today and will be removing the game from subscription services on March 1st, 2022. We will, however, be keeping servers live for the dedicated fan base still playing and those who own the game and are looking to drop into a match. Rest assured, Titanfall is core to Respawn's DNA, and this incredible universe will continue today in Titanfall 2 and Apex Legends and in the future. This franchise is a North Star for the caliber of experiences we will continue to create here at Respawn. Thank you from the entire Respawn team." So there you have it. The original Titanfall will no longer be sold starting March 1st and will be removed from subscription services. I know this is going to be disappointing for some fans out there, but at the same time, I do think that this is understandable. The original Titanfall game was only a multiplayer game, so it didn't have a single-player component, and most of the community has more than likely moved over to Titanfall 2 and then Apex Legends. So I'm sure that they did have to take all that into consideration and maybe try to push people into buying Titanfall 2 instead, which will have a little bit more of an active community. Titanfall 2 also has a surprisingly good single-player component as well, so yeah, that is a game that I would really recommend, whereas Titanfall 1, with it just having such a dire community by this point, yeah, I can understand why they would do something like this. Nonetheless, it's always sad to see a game be discontinued, especially for a game that was actually pretty good when it first came out. Let's go ahead and move on over to the poll of the day, though, where I asked you all, do you ever purchase cosmetic items in video games? We are seeing more and more games do this now, where they sell cosmetic items, and it's become really popular in that free-to-play format in competitive games. Even with Halo Infinite, they went with that free-to-play route where they sell cosmetic items through battle passes and microtransactions. And this really has been a big talking point since that beta released. A lot of people aren't necessarily happy with the progression, but I was really interested in seeing how many of you all actually buy these cosmetic items. And well, based off the results here, you can really see why publishers are starting to do this more and more, because yeah, 58% of you buy cosmetic items at least rarely. As you can see here, 9% of you said yes, you buy them often, 49% of you said rarely, while 40% of you said no. So yeah, it does seem like a lot of you all will buy them at least occasionally, even if it's not necessarily often, but you can really see here why that free-to-play format has become so successful. A large part of the community will buy at least one of these cosmetic items, if not multiple, so they are making a lot of money on these cosmetic items, and really, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. These are cosmetic items, and they don't really directly impact the gameplay, so for those who don't purchase them, it's really no big deal. You can simply play the game and have fun that way. Personally, that's kind of the way I am. I don't really purchase cosmetic items, and I kind of just focus on the gameplay for the most part. But at the same time, I do understand why people like cosmetic items. I mean, when I'm given the option to customize my character, I do enjoy that aspect of the game. So I do completely understand. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.